the PHNX Cardinals podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. They're kicking off another week of action by giving all new customers a can't-miss offer. Bet just $1 on any football game this week and receive $150 in free bets instantly if you sign up using the PHNX code. All right, we've got Johnny. We've got Frank back with us. We've got Saul joining us. Couldn't miss tonight's show, could you?
No, I got excited today, and I think we all know why. So I'm here.
Okay, so I'm assuming you're talking about. So I tweeted out. I really have no idea what came over me because it's not like me.
It really is not. That's what got everybody excited.
People are shocked.
So I tweeted out that
I got 4 texts today. Hey, what have you done to Chierstin? I was like, dude, I haven't done anything.
All good things.
All good things.
Yeah.
All good things. Positive vibes and booze. Here we go.
Yeah, so I tweeted out that if we get to 1,500 followers on our PHNX Cardinals Twitter page, and I'll check this just to make sure, just to see where we're at now.
We just need 300 more.
We're at.
I think we need
1281. I think.
Yeah, 1283. So we'll see.
So
We're
close.
going to leave this open throughout the show. Usually we go about an hour, so we'll give it another hour. We'll see where we get. But if we get to 1,500, I will, and I've got a whole case of Coors Light here.
She does.
I will shotgun a beer. Haven't done it in like 10 years, but I will. I'll dust off the college habits. And
Don't let us down, Twitter. Come on now. Get it done. Make up 215 fake accounts right now. Buy them overseas if you have to. You know, people do that where they buy followers overseas.
Do
yeah.
they?
Oh, that's a real
Why
thing.
do you know
yeah.
that?
It's a
Well,
real
I mean,
thing?
I don't. All of mine are very legitimate.
Wow.
I somehow doubt that now, Johnny, since you knew exactly how to get the fake followers.
All of mine are legitimate.
All the bots that follow me are all legitimate.
All right. It is a huge week for the Cardinals, taking on the Rams, starting divisional play. And Kyler Murray talked to the media today, and he was asked about how much different this Cardinals team is. You know, obviously, Cardinals have not been able to beat the Rams during the Sean McVay era. So he was asked how much different this Cardinals team is compared to teams in the past. And he was like, night and day. Not even close. So I think there is a level of confidence within this team that maybe they haven't had in years past going up against the Rams. Wow, guys.
Well,
don't everybody chime in at once now.
I'll just take a drink.
let me do this because I understand what Kyler's saying. And honestly, I think that he's night and day from the very first time he played the Rams and got into the NFL and had to deal with the NFC West and the Rams and what they're saying. We're talking about a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, Aaron Donald, on the other side with 3 other guys that was just beast. And their front 7 is no joke. So as a young quarterback coming into the league, he had to face that. So to see where he's at right now and how they progress and the pieces that he got, yeah, he should say the Cardinals right now are night and day. But I'm the person on the other side saying until you win, until there's a W on that sheet that said you beat the Rams, then you're still the same.
Well, the Rams are a different team too. You know, they didn't have Matt Stafford.
That's true too, but they're still undefeated
They used to
versus
the
the
Cardinals with Jared Goff. They complained about Jared Goff night and day, that being the Rams.
So,
He was good enough to drop 30-plus points every time he faced the Cardinals, and every game was lopsided. So I can understand Frank's point. Now, you get a significant upgrade at quarterback who looks right now like maybe the MVP along with Kyler Murray. I do understand many people have labeled it the most talented Cardinal team we've seen since 2015. Coincidentally, that was the last 2 years that the Cardinals were able to beat the Rams before McVay took over in January of 2017. So if they're ever going to do it, this is probably their best chance. You know, maybe Kingsbury notwithstanding, because I feel like with McVay, they have such a superior head coach, and that's not a knock on Cliff. Even if I were to say like Cliff's a top 20 coach or a top 15 coach, McVay's a top 3 coach. I mean, it's like looking at another maybe Sean Payton Belichick-esque type of coach now in your own division. I mean, the Cardinals have overcome Pete Carroll, right? They've beaten Kyle Shanahan in certain instances, but just with McVay, man, it just seems like, especially with Cliff, you feel like you're going in without a full deck.
Well, I mean, I keep thinking about Bruce Arians every time we face the Rams, because he was, he had that famous line about one team's battling for first place, the other one's always 8-8.
Yeah.
About the Rams.
Yeah, right.
And now I feel like the tables have turned.
Absolutely.
And we're looking at a Cardinals team.
That's a hell of a quote.
That was 8-8 last year, fighting for respect. And dude, until you slap Aaron Donald in the face and beat him and beat McVay, it's like shut up and put up.
Well, the other thing, too, when it comes to the Rams is they don't beat themselves. I mean, they're the least penalized team in the league. They don't have very many. I think they've got 2 turnovers on the year in 3 games. And so they don't really do a whole lot to beat themselves either. And that's a tough team to beat.
They are a tough team to beat. But I want to, again, it's hard to juggle the statement that he made, but yet I respect the statement that he made because it still lines up with you're that much better. And I think he will be the caveat that determines if we win or lose this game, because it will come down to how well he throws, controls the ball, how well he is able to get his guys to breathe and relax and get these guys involved in the game. And he's in that position right now. He's smarter, he's better, he's faster. This year, thank God, he's healthier. And those are the things that now, and he has a freaking center that they talk to each other and they communicate very well. And I think I agree with what he's saying, but at the end of the day, the quarterback that has the ball in his hand, he's the guy that's saying, I can determine whether we're night and day difference. And I think he's that much better than he was when he first got in the league. And I think he has the right to say that because he's the last man.
The Rams have the more notorious wideout core than the Suns, or I'm sorry, the Cardinals. Sorry.
Yeah, I would say so.
yeah. Devin Booker can't run a go route to save his life, right? Than the Cardinals. Yeah. And every time I look at this, I'm like, yeah, but I do feel like the Cardinals are just as good as their receiving core. And even if you talk about in the past, like, people might hate me for saying this, but I do think AJ Green is an upgrade over Larry Fitzgerald because he's a little bit more spry. He can do he's a little bit more versatile, especially on the edge, and that opens things up. Yeah. And so I think that's going to make a world of difference. It's already proven to make a world of difference this year because you don't have somebody clogging up or limited to just one position. Everybody's flexible, and basically everybody on that receiving core can play any position, whether it be outside or inside.
With all due respect to the group last year, it was a 2-man offense. It was Hopkins and Kyler Murray, and good teams adjusted to that. The Rams certainly did. They've got the number 1 corner in the NFL. I think we're going to talk about Jalen Ramsey here in a little bit. But I agree with you, Saul. I think that the inclusion of Rondale Moore in the slot, along with Christian Kirk, that dynamic has not been there for this team. The ability to create yards after catch, what Rondale Moore does from an elusiveness standpoint, I labeled it in my article I wrote today for GoPHNX.com. That's an X factor the Cardinals have not had. Been able to manufacture yards in space. Feels like with this Rams team for so long, they've had to be so precise even to get first downs. And to Saul's point, when you have older players that can't move as well and can't break tackles, you limit yourself. And now the Cardinals are just this big play explosion waiting to happen. And I do think it benefits them. I would put the receiving core right there I would put the offense pound for pound better than the Rams, given I think Kyler Murray's better than Matthew Stafford. I like the Cardinals running backs. The Rams running backs are all beat up. Cardinals offensive line looks really good suddenly, but it just comes down to, okay, who's pulling the trigger from the sideline? And that's my kind of microcosm of the NFC West in general. When you've got, at the end of the day, personnel that stacks up in the division, Seattle's got a Hall of Fame quarterback. The Niners are loaded at all kinds of different skill positions. Who's making the decisions? It's a coaching league. So if it's that like 5% that determines the game, that's on Cliff. And so, in the grand scheme of things, these games haven't been relatively close. I think this game's going to be close on Sunday. It may end up a call or two that he makes or doesn't make that makes a difference.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I still think it's going to take one of those just miraculous plays in order for the Cardinals to beat the Rams.
I was going to agree with everything you said, Johnny, except for the fact that one defensive line has Aaron Donald, the other one does not.
Yeah.
And that's a major difference, especially when you look at the performances of J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones of late, not being able to get to the quarterback. I think J.J.'s held up very well against the run.
Yeah.
But I feel like in the pass game, there's still a lot to be proven.
I don't feel like they were really trying to get to Trevor Lawrence as much last game. You gave me a wink.
No,
Frank.
I agree. I 100%. So you look at schemes and you figure out what is taking place. There are so many things that's when you're watching the film and you get a chance to watch all the angles, you'll have a better ability to identify exactly what's being taken place. Last week we played a young quarterback that, I mean, they still rushed for almost 100, rushed for over 100 yards against us, but that was not the scheme. Our scheme was kind of more geared toward covering their full receivers because they do have a very young, not great, but pretty good experience receiving core in Jacksonville. So everything I think we did last week was getting us ready for the Rams. We didn't really try to attack them on offense in a lot of ways that we had seen the previous couple of weeks, but at the end of the day, the goal was to walk away with the win and practice some stuff you did without getting hurt and injured, and then being able to say, you know what, we learned something against them. And I said the other day, this is what we do in the NFL. We're going to show you what we're getting ready to do against you, or we're deceiving you and telling you this is what we're not going to do against you because we're afraid of you. And that's the idea. So now this week in practice, when you see these guys come out and start talking about stuff, or they seem like they got a little bit more confidence about themselves, the Cardinals does, then you can tell that there's a game plan in place that they feel you're putting me in the right position. You're giving us the best chance to go out and win. And that's play calling, that's coaching, that's getting your guys ready. That is literally sitting in a film room and watching coaches watch film day and night, week after week. And, and they're just studying over and over and over other coaches, what they did to do well against you. Yeah. So we saw, it's not like they shut the Bucs down. But Tampa, Tom was able to make some good throws down the field. They had a bunch of lanes open. They didn't really sack Tom a whole bunch. So there are some things that's there that they can utilize. And I think that to the Cardinals right now, between the coach and coach, between McVay and Cliff, and my tattoo that I probably gonna get on Tuesday, well, it's gonna determine, what guy's calling the right plays on the sideline, and that would probably be. You're gonna get a K2? You probably get a little baby K.
Not yet.
KK.
I might get a K.
Tattoos?
Matching tattoos.
I might get a K1, Kyler Murray, but no, not a K2.
Not a K2?
No, not yet. Get us to the postseason. I mean, if they ever won a Super Bowl, whoop, we're different conversation. You might get my 65-year-old dad to get a K2 tattoo at that point. So, but I will say, to Frank's point, I would feel much more. I mean, look what the Rams just did to two people we have the utmost respect for, Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles. Mm-hmm. That's concerning. Now, I do think the Cardinals are in a better position defensively with their secondary compared to what Tampa has. But that game, that score is not as close as the score made it seem closer than it actually was with Tampa and the Rams. And most people consider Tampa a top 3 to 5 team anyway. So the Cardinals, to win this game, they will have to play almost perfect football, and that might not even be enough. You think about Donald and Ramsey are 2 top 5 players in the NFL, specifically defensively. Like you mentioned, the Rams don't beat themselves. They don't turn the ball over. They're going to have to wreak havoc on Matthew Stafford and get him to turn the ball over and have short possessions to get the ball back to Kyler Murray. Yep. That's the key to this game. Watt and company, Chandler Jones has to reemerge, and if you make him uncomfortable, he will throw interceptions like he did in Detroit. He will fumble the football. Cardinals get a short field. To me, if they can't do that, it's going to be a long afternoon.
If it's like Minnesota all over again,
there's no chance.
That's a wrap.
No.
That's a wrap.
Cardinals can't turn the ball over. I don't even think even one time, because if they do, foot on the gas for the LA Rams, and it will be too much. And then Kyler will start to force the football. Right. And we're going to break down one of his interceptions from last weekend. But I just think that this might be a game for a couple quarters. He has to go pound for pound, shot for shot with Stafford until Stafford makes a mistake.
See, but I feel like to a certain degree, you might be giving the Rams a little too much credit. I feel like Kyler Murray is the better quarterback.
Agreed.
I agree with you on that.
Agreed.
But I feel like this is one of those games, if you're Kyler Murray, that you could truly come out and be like, yeah, I'm the fucking favorite for MVP. Mm-hmm. That's just what this is.
Yeah.
And everybody in the NFL will take notice real quick if Kyler Murray comes out and throws for 350 and 4 touchdowns and whoops LA all over the field. He can do it. Mm-hmm. He's one of the few quarterbacks that can do it, not only because of his passing and how much he's improved, but also with his legs and his versatility all over the field. This is one of those games where you're like, okay, this is the one I want to see.
Signature win,
where
right?
Kyler Murray is.
You got me scared right now with the way that you're talking. I hope that he doesn't come in thinking, yeah, I'm in the front runner for MVP right now. I can beat you and try to beat.
Well, it's the cock and the walk, right? So that just like when he was playing Alabama in the Final Four with Oklahoma and trying to will that team to victory, it's the same thing.
He has the tendency to try to do too much. And I would hate for them to come into this game riding a little too high. It scares me a little bit.
I think Kyler's been there, done that. Mm-hmm. I think he's smelled his own farts and thought they didn't stink. I think so, but I don't feel like he's there right now. I feel like
numb. I'm numb to these comments.
I feel like when I watch Kyler Murray, he's in control. I just feel like he's in control, and he just knows he's that dude, and he doesn't need to prove it because his play is going to do the talking for him. Last week against the Jags, to me, was one of his more impressive games because it just didn't feel like he was trying to force things.
Yeah.
They were just coming, and they looked relatively easy. He played with him within the game and himself, and I was very impressed by his performance, even though they probably could have scored more. Sure, but it was an even performance.
Mm-hmm.
That goes to your point, or against your point of, or your worry about whether or not he's going to feel like he's doing too much. Because in that second half, he could have easily tried to do too much and lost the game.
Well, he's matured a ton this year. We've already seen that, and a lot of that comes with maturity. I just hope that he doesn't relapse into old habits in a game like this where, you know, they're coming in with the most confident they've been in years.
Here's what I will say. 3 weeks in a row, the Indianapolis Colts have played, by and large, 3 pocket passers: Carson Wentz, Andy Dalton, Tom Brady. To prepare for Kyler Murray, especially this early in the season, they got to face him last year late in the season. And I'm throwing away his rookie season. It is difficult to prepare for him this early in the year when he's 100%, certainly playing like this. Their defenders, I would imagine, I don't even know we talked about this last week, how you prepare for him in his in-game speed. I think it will be jarring for them. And I think the Cardinals have an advantage because this game is taking place.
You're talking about the Rams. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You said Colts. And
no.
I was like, what?
Well, yeah, I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
The Cardinals have an advantage because this game is taking place in early October, not late November.
So we're talking about the ways in which Kyler Murray has improved. He was talking today about how much more comfortable he is going through his reads and his progressions, and that has actually contributed to kind of spreading the wealth amongst receivers. And like it or not, DeAndre Hopkins has not gotten that many targets as a result, but that was something that he didn't even have to say that he was more comfortable. That's been apparent.
Well, DeAndre not getting the ball, Kyler's maturity is, we always, when you go back and look at the Heisman Trophy winner, Kyler Murray, he made a lot of great throws in college. It wasn't like he was forcing a bunch of stuff. He made a lot of great throws. We're talking about a number 1 draft pick arm of a quarterback. Everyone concerned about his height. He dispelled that because his arm and where he's able to throw that ball in the many angles he's able to make those throws. It's just, you got to have a strong arm in order to do that. Where he is right now and how he's singing, he has 4 studs. He didn't have to force anything. He can literally look and say, and when we're game planning properly, Christian got this guy, this cornerbacks. He's a dime and a nickel back, so they're not that good. And sometimes when I have 3 and 4 wide receivers on the field, they got a linebacker versus Christian. Yeah. He's going to get this guy. Mm-hmm. So in his mindset, when we're looking and real scheming, the maturity level says, I don't have to throw it to D-Hop because my left tackle sucks. 1, 2, 3, hike, and I got to run out of the pocket really fast because he's getting pressed, and my right tackle just got beat by this guy who was supposed to be great, or my nose guard, or anything like that. Now the line seems to be giving him that confidence. He can sit in the pocket. His pre-snap read versus certain defensive backs, and now you're not just taking, I got to go. Like you said, it was backyard ball last year. It was Kyler and D-Hop. Now it's not that. He has 3 other studs on the right side that he can figure it out. And Cliff is growing. Cliff has grown. He's created an offense that allows guys to not be stagnant, to move guys around. So there is a lot of, look, Cardinal Nation, you know for a fact we got some horses, we got some dogs, we got players. They just got to show up for the moment. And when the light's on like that, they just got to show up for it. They got to be willing to take that challenge of owning the NFC West, because if you beat the Rams, you own the NFC West.
You're in the driver's seat, that's for sure.
They're in the driver's seat.
How does that change the dynamic of a receiving room? So it's not all DeAndre Hopkins. Mm-hmm. On any given week, You can have A.J. Green and Christian Kirk have over 100 yards. You can have Rondale Moore score a touchdown. What does that do for, I don't know, I don't want to say morale necessarily, but it's probably a little more encouraging for the whole room, no?
It's honest. It's honest in the room because this nickel back can't cover Saul. Can't. And the left corner can't cover Johnny V. So I'm on lockdown right now because they doubling to me. They don't want me to get inside the middle of the field and destroy them. They don't want that. So they're going to double me and say, okay, well, which one's going to win? And if that's the case, then it allows the room. When you're watching film and you're looking at our game plan, D-Hop's got to say, okay, coach, you got to figure out 2 ways to get me the ball against him. And they'll be down in distances where it'll be specific plays for him. But the morale in our room has to be, D-Hop's got to say, I don't have to do this all by myself. Mm-hmm. He left Houston having to do it by himself for the most part. I mean, it wasn't like, it was him and Watson throwing Hail Marys and one-hand catches and acrobatic catches and on-his-toe catches. But now he has 4 getting real players, and that should cause freedom. It's 17 more. It's an extra week in the season. If it push came to shove, and he got really hungry at the end of the season, and the Cardinals are like 10-3. And I hate to say somebody might take a loss, might not. But I'm saying 10-3 or 10-4. Or am I doing it right? My math's right? Wrong.
Well, not for the duration of the season. Yeah, sure, they can be 10-4.
You start figuring out that, hey, it's my week to eat.
3 plus 10.
Yeah, I know. I was, calm down. Auburn education to a degree. I just want to stop. I was there. However,
here's what I will say. I will give Cliff and Kyler credit because I thought it was a disastrous decision not only to let Dan Arnold walk as a free agent, but to basically punt on the tight end role. And I know Max Williams had a good game 2 weeks ago. He's their number 1 tight end. But by and large, during the course of his career, he's not been a receiving tight end. He's been a pass blocking tight end. They run this 10 personnel. For those of you who don't know, 10 personnel is when you go 4 wide, like we're talking about. Historically, they have not done that because they haven't had the personnel. They've run 12 where you've got 2 tight ends, or 11 when you've got 1 tight end, what they did with Dan Arnold last year. And Dan was a good player for them. So they're all in on this 10 personnel. All 4 wide receivers are on pace to hit over 1,000 yards. I don't think that'll stay as consistent, but I mean, who knows? You got 17 games now to try to get it. I will say they're in a much better position now to, even if Hopkins is not a factor in this game and Jalen Ramsey wipes him out, Christian Kirk is the number 1 slot receiver in the NFL right now. He's on pace for 1,350 yards. Rondale Moore's had a phenomenal rookie season thus far. And A.J. Green, I mean, he started the year slow, and a lot of people thought, it was the training camp hype, just much to do about nothing. Not last week. He looks more comfortable every week. So they can kind of pick and choose their spots now. I'm not even considering the fact that running backs both look good. They complement each other well. The Cardinals, pardon my my term, but they're playing with a full deck for the first time in a long time against the Rams. And that's what you have to do to be able to beat this team because they were so dependent on Hopkins last year. And then the fact that they had a huge liability at center with Mason Cole. Now you upgrade with Rodney Hudson. I mean, the moves were kind of indirectly made in the offseason to beat this team. And we'll see if it comes to fruition on Sunday.
Frank, you were all hyped up to send me some screenshots of Kyler's interception on Sunday because you have proof that it wasn't his fault.
I do. It's just one of those things where you get a chance. There's always this in the locker room. We look at pre-snap read. And if you know what that is, basically before the quarterback hikes the ball, you look right here, and, of course, if you watch the game, the Cardinals, Kyler ended up throwing an interception in this play, but it wasn't his fault. What we typically do in the pre-snap read, we look to the left. He looks to the left and look to the right, look at both safeties. The safety on the left is down more, so you can almost tell he's trying to basically double-team D-Hop. D-Hop is your safety, your receiver that's down to the bottom. We have a 10 personnel and a 3-by-1, which is 3 receivers up top, 1 at the bottom. Christian Kirk was one we got highlighted in the inside slot, right? And then we have Rondale Moore, and then we have A.J. Green, which has, when you look at it, they have a safety over top of him, okay? And then in the next frame, you'll see after he hikes the ball, he gets up the field, and you'll see we have Kyler looking to the left. Remember, I already told you the safety was already down. And so he's looking to the left to hold that safety. Once he says hike, he sees the linebacker in the middle. We got highlighted Christian and the linebacker. The linebacker's back is turned to the quarterback. So this is what we would call a Tampa 2, which was created by Lovie Smith and those guys. And basically, that linebacker has Christian Kirk. Now, look, Kyler's looking to the left. He knows that linebacker cannot cover Christian Kirk, all right? So the goal of it is Christian's job is to get over top of that linebacker, and we can sit in the next frame where Kyler ends up throwing the ball. Kyler throws the ball on the left hash. Can you go back to the other frame first? The second one. Look where Christian Kirk is. He's on the right hash, outside right hash, and Kyler's holding the safety on the left, letting us know that he threw the ball on the left hash, assuming that he had the entire left side of the field to be open. Here's the problem. Christian ran the wrong route. Christian's job is to attack that linebacker, get underneath of him, and then get on the other side or over top. You can go to the next frame. And then now you'll see where Kyler threw the ball. And he threw the ball in the right spot. He just had the backside safety, was able to get over there because he had no one to hold him. If Christian would have got on it'd have been a perfect throw with a perfect read.
In that last one, do you want Christian to cut in front or behind the linebacker?
You want him to start attacking him and then cut underneath him.
So you want him to cross the face, right?
Yes, you want him to cross the face because the linebacker is already committed to the right side of the field. Mm-hmm. So Christian has the ability to start attacking him and give him like a little wiggle, which will step outside right and then come underneath him, and then that will freeze him, and then we can either go over top or underneath and get to the part where we need to get to, and that would have caused it wouldn't have caused an interception, and it would have been a touchdown because the left safety was already down. So that let us know that Kyler, to me, I said Kyler didn't make a bad play. I have to go back and watch it 3 times because at the end of the day, you don't see all that stuff. He was perfect in the pocket. Pre-snap read dictated the ball was going to go to Christian. He had, and that in itself says to me, I see the maturity in it. He's done it several times this year. Every pass that Christian's caught on an angle over somebody or the over the shoulder catch or something on the left side, everyone he's caught has been the exact same formation, 3-by-1 set.
Nice.
He's been against a linebacker or a nickel back that he was able to beat and get over top. And that's the part, and it was
instead of that outside corner that he's faced his whole career.
And see, that's the part. That's where you see him maturing and growing. And as a receiver, to me, I mean that I can only fathom that when I face DBs that are good or bad, my quarterback got my best interest. And that's all you need to be able to see to say that this guy has grown. He has matured. He is better than the guy was before. And now he has the horses to attack people specifically and individually. That's the NFL. It looks like a game, but there are 11 studs out there. But you got to find the one that's not, the one that's he might not be the greatest one. The one that comes in the game, he's not a 5-star, he's like a 4-star guy.
Yeah.
With a couple of banters and a couple of tethers in his helmet. Said he was good, but he wasn't great. Saul has a helmet full of awesomeness on the back, all these medals that they give these guys and stickers and whatnot. But you find a guy that got in the game maybe 2 or 3 times or 5 times.
They give you pause, right?
Huh?
They give you pause at Auburn, right?
Yeah, they give you pause, yeah. I can't tell you what I got. Man. I can't name how many I got, but
probably got a
helmet,
decent
right?
amount.
Probably had like quite a bit.
I don't want to brag, but since I'm here, turn my mic up. But that's the reason why you can see the growth in Kyler. It helps to have talent in the NFL. It helps to have a Rondale Moore on the inside. It helps to have a Christian Kirk on the inside. It helps for him to be able to say, I can attack specifically. There's several throws that Kyler made in the Jacksonville Jaguar games that were absolutely great reads, just maybe not a great throw. He threw a little go route to D Hops on the outside, and he was running against a one-on-one coverage. He threw a back shoulder throw. It was a great read, but he just missed it, got outside right of D Hops. There's so many things he's doing so much better this year that he didn't do last year. And look, the offensive line is playing cohesively. They're actually talking. It's funny because he's not getting really blitzed. Not many teams are blitzing him this year because we got those studs out there. And that is a good thing to see.
And I don't think the Rams are going to blitz.
They probably will not. They will not.
Is when this happens, this is the great part about having you on the show is like when something like this happens, how quick do you realize as a receiver that it was either your fault or the quarterback's fault? And then if it is your fault, how quick do you apologize?
I immediately go back like that was me. That was on me because I knew I should it's a Tampa 2. In a Tampa 2, you only got one guy. And that guy, once he turned his back, once you get to the line of scrimmage and I saw that far left safety was down and I knew I was running an over route to get me there and I didn't get over because I didn't want to get to that linebacker. So I didn't want that linebacker to touch me. When they put their paws on you, they stop you. Like those Like it's a guy that can, he's curling 135 pounds. He's one hand. He hit me with that one hand, and that shove is something. That's why you got to give him a little wiggle, and then you overcome him like that. And that's something that he just didn't do. He took the vertical and then tried to get over. But once that ball was already thrown and the backside safety saw it, it was already dead. It was dead in the water because he couldn't have gotten there fast enough. And where Kyler threw the ball from the right hash to the left hash shows you that he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. He saw the read, and that is something where you go back and, like you said, man, if Christian did not run the perfect route, he'd have went back and said, "That's my bad, man. I should have attacked him, and I didn't." And that was a good throw.
And those are the mistakes that they can make against Jacksonville, and they can figure it out.
Right.
That's true.
Can't make it Sunday.
That's true.
Those mistakes will get you beat 9 times out of 10 against this Rams team.
So all things considered, how much stock can you put into a potential win on Sunday for what that will do for this team, for Kyler, for Cliff, for the fan base? I was about to say it's not punching your ticket to the playoffs, but it actually, you could say that it might.
It definitely would improve their chances significantly. I think it would shed new light on this organization from a national perspective. We all here locally in the Valley think they're going to be pretty good, right? We think that pretty good fringe playoff team before the year. Now starting 3-0, it'd be a major disappointment if they didn't at least get a wild card. But you beat the Rams on Sunday, a team that's really the darling of the NFL. The NFL is pushing hard for this LA brand to work. They're going to have the combine in LA, a year from this spring. They want Stan Kroenke to be happy. And Matthew Stafford going there is good for the league. Gets him out of Detroit, puts him in the national eye. So I think you go there. The Arizona Cardinals, who don't get a lot of respect, they were picked dead last in their division, even though they had a better record than San Francisco last year. A lot of people think Seattle's trending down. To me, it comes down to the fact that I don't even know, is Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, is this the national game of the week? It very well might be. It comes down to the fact that can Kyler Murray elevate this franchise further than they've been since Carson Palmer and Bruce Arians were here in 2015. If he can do that, then all bets are off for the rest of the year. Because people take Kyler seriously. Not everybody takes the Cardinal franchise seriously. Not everybody takes, certainly, Cliff Kingsbury seriously. But casual fans, people who are outside the Valley, people who are outside the state of Arizona, know who Kyler Murray is, know that he's a legitimate playmaker, top 5 to 7 quarterback. What it would do for his legacy short-term in the NFL, it would put him on a map, a stratosphere he has not entered yet. And all he cares about is winning. In the grand scheme of things, what is one regular season win? This is in division. This is against a coach you've never beaten. It's the number 1 team in the NFL right now. It's the NFL darlings. I think it would change the narrative a month into the season of, the Cardinals are like a 7 or an 8 win team to, man, could the Cardinals have a number 1 seed in the postseason? Could they run the table and be a top seed and be in the NFC Championship game?
It's endless.
It changes everything.
It changes the landscape. They have to answer the call right now. These next 3 weeks will not be easy. Every fan right now is, they're excited, but there is trepidation there as well. There's a little bit of nervousness there because this is like, to me, I feel like this is Auburn playing Alabama right now. And if we were playing, and you're not waiting to like week 11, you're in like week 3. And you get to determine if you get the BCS Bowl or bid in the BCS or whatever national ranking you get determines that.
Are the Rams Alabama?
I think so.
Don't even say that to me. Don't even say that. Yes, they are because they have had the spotlight a lot longer, and historically, as well noted that they had our number for a long time. So the Cardinals have to answer the call. We got the players, we got the pieces, and to that statement, you have to show up to play. This is a great time for us. I mean, a really, really good time for this team. And I like where Kyler's at as the leader of this team. I can't say we have a defensive leader. I mean, because the two leaders that we would have identified as in J.J. Watt and not having any sacks in this before. But what you watch, and if you, again, I'm studying the film differently, watching the game differently. What you watch when you see him, he is pressing. He's holding 2 guys. He's fighting off 2 defenders.
He's doing the ugly work.
He's doing 100% the grunt work of a guy, in his tenure right now that you really don't want to be doing. But he's doing that, and he's holding his own to make sure the right side of our or left side of our defense looks like, you just can't do it on the left side. And I think he's doing his part.
It is not the NFL game of the week. It is Chris Myers, Daryl Johnston,
God.
and Jen Hale. And I don't know about you, but I hate Chris Myers.
That's terrible. What's the game of the week then? Some trash NFC?
There is no game of the week. There is no game of the week. Joe Buck and Aikman are stuck doing Jaguars Bengals
on the Thursday. That's disappointing. Well, I can tell you some positive news. I don't know if we have a DraftKings read coming up. I'm sure we do.
I was just about to say, well, on a lighter note, you guys look great in your DraftKings.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Not to put words in your mouth, but I did want to point something out that I just found out. So the Cardinals line for this game started at 6.
Mm-hmm.
Then it went down to 4.5. It's now at 4. So Vegas is telling you the home field advantage essentially counts for 3 points. This is going to be a close game. Vegas thinks it's going to be a close game. 1 possession game for the Arizona Cardinals.
It usually does end up being a close game.
-4 the LA Rams against the Cardinals.
Okay. Have your feelings in terms of who you're taking changed at all?
I definitely would have liked the Cardinals earlier this week when they were +6.5. To me, like I want to buy in. I want to drink the Kool-Aid. I want to believe. But I've watched every game this team has played against this coach, this man, and his defensive tackle. And I have to see it. So I might just up and just stay away from it. That might be my play this weekend, and just a cop-out, a cowardly cop-out.
What about the same game parlays? Is there anything within that? It's difficult.
Maybe you can run on the Rams. And if we're looking at a same game parlay, Chase Edmonds, James Conner, maybe dabble into their over-under rushing yards. Outside of that, I got to see this team do it. That's a cop-out answer. I'm sorry, but if they come out and perform, I'll eat a bunch of crow next week. But I just 8-0, 20-plus points per game margin of victory for McVay against this team. That's real. That's insane. In the NFL where there's parity everywhere and the Cardinals, they can beat the Seahawks and they can beat the Niners. To be 8-0 against one team and to dominate them in that fashion, I just...
honestly, like, there's something to be said about that, especially when it comes to Cliff versus McVay. And they're both young coaches. Mm-hmm. They're both, considered, these offensive gurus. At the same time, man, when I watch McVay, like, I don't know how if you're a player, you don't get pumped up.
Oh, yeah.
From him. His energy just
seems
so enthusiastic. Whereas Cliff is just kind of seems like, it's, time to make the donuts. You know what I mean? It's like, and sometimes when you look at the performance of both teams, it legitimately looks like the Cardinals are sleepwalking sometimes through the game. Whereas the Rams, come hell or high water, they're either really, really great or they're trash. Like, and there's not really an in-between.
I mean, L.A. is prime time. L.A. in itself is prime time.
But the Rams organization was dormant before McVay got there. They had a season in L.A. before he got there with Jeff Fisher. They were awful. To me, it's all about him. And I think it speaks to the fact this is his third defensive coordinator. Doesn't matter. They're still elite. And so I think he's a great borderline genius offensive mind. But the way, to Saul's point, he can garner that team's energy and get them fired up offensively and defensively. Cliff hasn't been able to do that yet. Cliff does not really touch the defensive personnel. That's all Vance Joseph. And so you look at McVay, it's like, I don't care who my defense, I'll fire Wade Phillips. Brandon Staley goes and gets the Charger job. Doesn't matter. And I know he has Aaron Donald, but it's one player of 11 players. So I saw something on Twitter today. I'm not calling Cliff Kingsbury this, but it's like the Cardinals got the great value version of Sean McVay when they hired Cliff Kingsbury. It's not nice.
I just need to see Cliff outcoach somebody. That's what I want.
It's happened. I mean,
it's happened, but it hasn't been so obvious where, man, this dude got outcoached. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it's been so egregious, but there have been times where you're like, I would say his highs have not been as low as his lows, is what I would say. His lows have been very glaringly obvious, whereas his highs, they won. Cool.
I got a text from my dad on Sunday, and he's like, man, people bitch about Cliff Kingsbury, but look what's going on with Joe Judge in New York. I mean, things could be much worse. But again, it's exacerbated by the fact you play in the NFC West with 3 big-time head coaches. That does not do Cliff any favors.
You got a bunch of rah-rah coaches outside of Cliff, though. And like you say, Cliff doesn't have the tenure. Sean McVay had been in the league many years before Cliff ever. Yeah. Cliff came, if Cliff want to brag about it, I left college and came to the pros and got a head coaching job. What you been doing? How long you been in the league?
He also went to college with a losing record.
Well, I mean, but I tell you what, everything you saying, they hired me. Wait on it. I'll wait. They brought me
That's
here.
why a lot of coaches.
I might have been a loser, but they brought me here.
That's why he's resented.
And now I'm
Yeah.
winning right there. But still, if you want it, we can throw fruit and tomatoes. But I'm just saying, they hired me.
He has not been.
Even
if they miss the playoffs this year, assuming they don't like collapse and lose out, and they move off of him, it was not a bad hire. He maybe just got this team to where it needed to be until the next coach came in. And I hope he finishes the season well. I want this team obviously to do well. But he has not been like Steve Wilkes. He was borderline set up to fail. That was not a good hire. He was not ready to be a head coach. And Cliff, they're competitive for the most part outside of a couple games. I watch other coaches in this league just seem completely overwhelmed. To me, the decision, I think it's blown. People say, he has Kyler Murray. Imagine if ex-coach had Kyler Murray, and there's something to be said to that.
That's a lot to be said to that.
But,
if he doesn't have Kyler with that offense coming in, and he had Josh Rosen, we don't see the same guy.
No, that's true.
We don't see the same offense. We don't see the same miraculous plays and the opportunities that was given to him. So those are the things that, right? I mean, but that's I didn't. Yeah, I mean, I don't.
That's
more
of a
Should we hang my
too, maybe, but,
I had to leave that one long. You got time.
Should we hang I have a Rosen jersey at home. Should we hang it up here? Should we get it in the studio?
Yeah, bring it in here, man.
Chosen Rosen.
Yeah.
We also got away from the fact that I did, Johnny's not feeling very gutsy about betting anything on this game this weekend. But if you do feel like you do want to play some money on your Arizona Cardinals and doing a same game parlay, you will be credited up to $25 if your bet loses using the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So there you go. So $25 you can put on your Cardinals this weekend, and you won't have to worry about losing any money. And as always, 21 and over, Arizona only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. Eligibility restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. All right, I believe, Johnny, you got us set up with a mailbag and some questions from our friends on Twitter.
That's right. Hey, it's Bird Gang Blitz mailbag time. Love that graphic. All right, so I'm going to post.
Why did it sound like Steve from Blue's Clues?
Yeah, I know. It was good. It was good, though.
All right, I'm going to pose some questions to our fine panel of hosts here from you, the Cardinal Twitterverse on Twitter.com. Thank you so much, by the way, for your engagement. We love this segment. And these are all questions.
Oh, wait. Also, did we check on Twitter? Have we seen what we've gotten up to?
Yeah, we are not close.
Not even close?
We're at 1,300, I think.
Yeah, right about at 1,300. So 200 shy.
Don't have it defeat us.
You gotta leave the taco bar, bro.
$12.95.
We upgraded though.
So
Thank
close.
you. Thank you for those that came in. You upgraded. Whoop, whoop.
Let's get to your questions. Those of you who do follow the account, you're rewarded with your questions being answered here on the Bird Game Blitz mailbag. All right, first question comes from our buddy Michael Hernandez. Michael's a great guy at MPHX 78. When is Jordan Phillips returning? I would think that has something to the effect of, hey, they could probably use Jordan Phillips, peak Jordan Phillips against the Rams. Chierstin, where's Jordan Phillips?
We don't know. We have not heard anything about him. We haven't. And it leads me to believe that there's something beyond injury going on here, because we have not heard a peep about Jordan Phillips, about his status, about what's going on, about when we might see him return.
Mm-hmm.
Not a peep. What?
That's funny.
No, I think
something's going on.
Something is going on, and when they're not talking, something is going on that can't be revealed until they 100% can confirm it. And I think that's the league. That's the league protecting its player and its brand at the same time. That's the Cardinals doing their part. Because if it's not an injury and it's not on the reports or it's not consistently being talked about, you can walk in there tomorrow and say, "Hey, Cliff, what's up with Jordan Phillips?" And he'd be like, we're working on Jordan. He's doing pretty good right now. He's almost there. And he'll
coach speak, right?
He'll give you the coach speak. Yeah, we're just working on him right now. It's he's not fully there, and when we get there, we'll add him on. We'll bring him back, and that's it. And then next question. Right, that's how it works out. Because right now there's something else that's going on behind the scenes that
this man just vanished.
Right.
It's like their marquee signing from 2 springs ago, and it's just like, well, not really hanging around.
It's anymore. Like Shawshank. They walked into the prison cell and they're like, "Where the hell did Eddie Dufresne go? Where is this man?"
They haven't disclosed an injury.
Yeah.
He's making a lot of money. I would say that if he doesn't return anytime soon, he will not be a Cardinal past this season. They can move off of him. pretty
He
easily.
wasn't even a Cardinal this season if he doesn't show up.
Yeah.
Sorry, Michael.
This
We
is a
don't know.
bold take there, Johnny.
I know, right?
Let us.
Should go on a limb here and say if he doesn't show up for the rest of the year, he won't be here next year.
Great chance.
Next question. All right. This comes from CLT2 Crew. Will this be the game that K1 doesn't start the second half with an INT? And Frank just broke down the second half INT from last week, and maybe it wasn't Kyler's fault. Chierstin, what do you think?
There's really no telling here. I mean, do I know if, Kyler is going to screw up or Christian Kirk's going to screw up or, whatever? I mean, they've got Jalen Ramsey, so you never really know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they're going to be, as locked in as they possibly can be, but there's really no saying, and I don't have anything more to say.
I think Jalen Ramsey's the most overrated defensive back.
What?
Wow.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I don't think Kyler's going to throw a pick in this game. I don't. I think he's going to manage the ball exceptionally well.
What if it's not his fault?
I mean, I don't think that even if it's not his fault, I just don't think he's going to make a pick. I think this receiving corps is going to answer the bell.
I do too.
And I really believe this is the challenge you take. Because, yeah, Jalen's one dude, but there are 5 other dudes we can murder. That we could murder. Like, that's how I look. We going to murder those other suckers.
Jeez, Frank.
That's what – I'm sorry. I got him receiving mode. My bad.
Did you have
My
something
bad.
to do with your
My bad. I'm just saying this. My bad. My bad.
What did you do with Jordan Phillips?
I'm just saying. No, it's just this is what happens, man. I'm sorry. I got in game mode. I apologize. I got in game mode because as a receiver, I take it. Like I point out Christian when he wasn't right. I'm gonna point out ourselves when we ain't right.
Here's the problem.
Give it to me.
Cliff Kingsbury does not move around DeAndre Hopkins. Everybody knows he's on the left side of the field.
He's been doing it more though. He's been
not
doing
enough.
it more.
Move around D-Hop this week. Shake him off, Jalen, and
Yep.
give him an opportunity to go deep and make a play.
And that's what I believe. So if you go back and watch the Jacksonville game, you'll see him running more shallow crosses from his position. Shallow crosses when one receiver goes from one side of the field, and he doesn't go really high, but he's no deeper than about 5 or 7 yards, and he's running to the other side of the field, just changing the entire landscape of the defense, and typically have the other 3 guys clearing out. That's something that he didn't do. He either runs a slant, a go route, or a little comeback route, and that's all he's been doing on the left side. So I'm watching the schemes that they've been putting together. He scored a touchdown versus Tennessee the very first game. He was in the slot. He caught a little 5-yard hitch turnaround with the running back on the outside. So they're moving him around. You have to look at what the receivers do well. And for him, running across the field, I mean, D-Hops does everything well, but you got to figure out what he does well in your system.
Mm-hmm.
And I think right now you're going to see him move him a little bit more because that's the conversation that you've been hearing. So
Okay, well, what if the ball gets tipped and he's
not
tipped
throwing a
into
pick. I'm standing on it.
all
I'm
right.
standing by.
If you can
Ball gets
guarantee that
tipped.
they don't.
He's not
I'm
gonna
just
throw a pick.
saying,
I
I
don't think he's
cannot
gonna throw a pick.
confidently ever say that he's not going to throw
I don't
an
think-
interception.
That
think-
interception, that pick
there's-
6 he had against Minnesota was bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
That was a bad
That
throw.
was a bad throw.
Yeah, I mean, he had a brain fart. That's fine. I'm okay with
Can't
it.
have those against the Rams.
Well, I'm not saying he can't have it.
What is
Look,
with the pessimism?
I'm
with
just
everybody
saying-
today.
Well, here's the comment. I believe that this is what I believe. I believe Kyler's better. I believe he believes that he's better. I believe he knows he's better. I believe the Rams defense doesn't present a problem to him. We're talking about 2 guys out of 8. The other 8, I got 7 that could murder that 8. So it's a numbers game. So I don't want to talk about, we got Jalen Rams and this guy. Okay, well, that's cool. That's fine. I'm in mode. So this is what happens. We look at numbers and we look at the players, and when we just take away 1 and 2 guys, everyone's a good compliment. But I really believe Kyler neutralizes a lot of pieces on the defense. So if that's the case, I believe that we have enough studs to cause problems. Rondale Moore probably have a great freaking game because they have no answers for him. And I truly believe even our tight end, he goes unnoticed. Gronkowski ran through their defense. They didn't even care about the tight end. So what does that mean about Matt Williams?
Dan Arnold always
I'm
used to
just
have
saying.
good games against them, too.
Hello. This is why we study the film. And that's what I'm talking about.
We're
bro.
here to study
I'm
and
right
murder.
here with you. This is what we do. We bring something different because
I'm just saying.
we have the ability to break that down and then bring back a holistic position that says everyone's better. We have a very good team that can match that team, and we have a quarterback they don't have answers for, and that presents problems across the board for any team in the NFL right now, any team in the NFL is scared of us because of what we bring to the table. Bottom line. No one's going to line up and just run the ball against us.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I mean, it's like pretty simple. I feel like I appreciate all of your analysis based on all the film that you've studied. I'm just saying there are so many factors when it comes to potentially throwing a pick that has nothing to do with you. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with your receivers. Maybe whatever the case is. There are a million factors.
He's not throwing
and
a pick.
you can be as prepared as you think that you are prepared, and as locked in and focused and talented. And whatever the case is, and you never know. That's why you play the game, Frank.
Well, when we play the game and we show back up on Monday and Tuesday with no picks behind his name and 3 or 4 touchdowns, let's do it.
Yes,
let's run that.
I was waiting for somebody to get there.
Balls
McGee
I was
watching these two go through the process. I'm like, holy
Balls
shit!
McGee.
Okay,
can somebody please make that?
Simplified versus watched all the film.
Oh, 100%. He's
so
not
no
throwing
picks
a pick.
versus he's going to have an interception.
Yeah.
At least one. He's thrown a pick in every game so far.
He's not throwing it.
And this is by far the best defense he's faced. He's
They're
faced, I mean, Tennessee's all right defensively.
Yeah.
Minnesota and Jacksonville are awful defensively.
Okay.
Rams have been historically great defensively. All right, so what are we going to wager?
Look, you like Sour Patches. I bring you a Sour Patches, Applebee's, Nuggets, apparently, because nothing else on that. And Coors Light. And Coors
Okay,
Light.
here we go. You bring Applebee's wings if I win, and I'll bring whatever your favorite wings are.
Oh, Lolo's.
Lolo.
Oh,
Lolo's.
hell yeah.
Yeah, Lolo's.
Oh, shit, Kyler.
Lolo's.
Let's go. Hell no.
Saul just signed him up to be on the show.
Oh,
I think they call like some, they got
So
Hey,
it's twofold.
No,
in
no,
the
no.
Chicago
You got to
style.
bring that shit for the whole crew, man.
Yeah.
I'm in on this.
So it's twofold. Not only if Kyler throws an interception, that's bad for the Cardinals, but it also means we have to endure Applebee's wings.
Oh, my God.
I'm okay.
Oh, my. If you ever, I don't think I've ever felt so invested on a potential interception before in my life.
I'm not betting against Kyler. I'm betting against Frank.
Yeah, you are. You're just betting that.
No one disputes that.
But you're also betting against all of our culinary interests.
Yes.
Yes.
Holy, I don't know how.
This is going to go right.
Applebee's. Oh, God.
Why don't we do a poll and ask the fans, like, what do you really think? What are your best wings? What are your favorite wings? Like nuggets, bone in, bone out.
Did that for us already.
You know,
What'd he say?
What'd he say?
Well, he had like this thread where I think he said, so are long longs the best wings in Phoenix, and then he opened the thread up to like all the best wings in Arizona.
What was the
And
consensus?
it's there.
Do you know who the consensus was?
Maybe Valley Wings. There was like ATL, I think Valley
ATL's
Wings,
ATL
hot wings.
and
ATL wings.
long longs.
I've never had long ones.
I've had them, and I'm not. I mean, okay.
The aesthetics kind of get me a little bit.
It throws me
Like
off
the
100%.
like the building.
Yeah, all that. Like it's like
Oh yeah, but that's the best places you get to go to eat. Yeah.
Hole in the wall places are
Those
usually
sketchy places,
great, yeah.
man.
It's sketchy. I'm
don't-
telling you, it's real sketchy.
I went to a place in Kansas City.
Go ahead.
It's called LC's. If you ever get a chance to go to Kansas, and it's in the middle of like a really like not hood. It's a wooded area. Like you wouldn't even know that it was there, but it's on like this in this old gas station that doesn't exist anymore. There's no gas pumps, nothing. And you walk in, they have the smokers on the inside. This is a barbecue joint.
Okay.
Every time they open up the smokers, guess what color tables they have? White. And there's like soot all over the tables.
Ooh.
You go like this, and you can see the black on your fingers.
Nice.
That was the best barbecue I've ever had in my life. And LC,
I think
God
you were
bless his soul.
inhaling the fumes.
LC, God bless his soul. He's probably not with us anymore because I don't know how you could live through all this. Sits in the corner. He's a bigger black guy, Coke bottle glasses, and he just sits there and chills and watches everybody enjoy his food. It's the most
what's
beautiful
up.
thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's on par with when I drive home and I go get a sandwich from Circle K.
Live
Oh,
in
and I-
Maricopa, man.
Golly.
It's going
That
down.
Circle K smacks.
All right. Next question. I don't know how we top that. We're going to try. We got two more of these. This is from Gisele_Gilizotto. Thank you for this question. I'm kind of worried about...
You can't laugh at our viewers. Thank you so much, Giselle.
It's Giselle. It's not Giselle. It's Giselle.
I can't see.
There's a Y at the end.
What
There's
are
a
you
Y.
doing, Johnny?
There's a Y.
Let me see it. I can't
No, there's a Y on the end. Giselle at
It's Giselle. That's how Giselle Bundchen spells it too.
with a Y on the end. There's a Y. Yes, there's a Y.
I
on the
can't
end.
see it.
Right here.
I can't see it.
Giselle at Gilizotto.
My bad, Giselle.
No. Johnny's wrong. Her name is Giselle Soto or whatever, but her like Twitter name is Giselle. So
So I'm half wrong. Giselle was her.
Was there at?
You guys, go to hell. All right, so she asked. She had a damn good question. That's why I wanted to post it to the group. Now I resent it.
That question.
I'm kind of worried about the defensive line. Are they going to be able to stop the Rams running backs? And I'll expand on that. Can the defensive line generate pressure on the Rams backfield? What do you think?
Well, I think there is like a little bit of concern based upon what we've seen the last 2 weeks, but I think last week, like Frank was alluding to, was sort of by design. I think we're going to get the best performance we've seen out of the Cardinals this entire season. So I expect them to be better in every aspect.
Better than Tennessee week 1.
Well, I just don't think you can repeat like one person getting 5 sacks. So like, I'm not going to say like, yeah, like Chandler Jones and JJ Watt are both going to get 5, nothing outrageous like that. But I would say like a comparable performance.
I just want consistent pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Every 4 or 5 dropbacks, you got to have somebody in his face to make him think twice about what he's doing in the pocket. If you just let him go free and clear like Kirk Cousins and basically Trevor Lawrence as well,
right?
He's gonna kill you. He's gonna kill you because he's a good quarterback.
And
but that's why. But I still don't think I agree, which is to my point. But I still just don't think that we're gonna get the same team we saw last week.
Trevor was clean, and that game changed when Urban Meyer got cute and tried that flea flicker.
Yep.
And I know,
bullshit.
Yeah, and JJ had pressure there, but like. He probably doesn't throw a pick 6 there if they don't try that garbage.
Very true.
They probably just
he does not.
They probably just continue to move the chains like they had been the whole game.
They were looking for a spark.
Yeah, but I mean that's that college bullshit. Excuse me. That's
like they're the only team that's done that.
No, I mean, but we're looking at Urban with a quarterback that you're in the game. You didn't even create a real flow to get to that moment where they felt like you had enough pressure. You hadn't seen the Cardinals really blitz or put any pressure on you where you felt like there was no one over top at that moment. And that is the kind of stuff where you feel like he or the offense coordinator got into a place thought that was cute, and they got cute, and they paid for it. The Cardinals this week will play something different. They will bring pressure from all parts of the field. You're gonna see Zane more in the backfield. You're gonna see
it's
Simmons.
Simmons.
Oh,
I would see Buddha.
You've called
it Zane.
Yes, and I wouldn't if it was a one-time thing.
Zaven, not Zane.
It's Zaven. No.
Shit.
And Frank, I normally wouldn't do
I
that
need
to
you to do that.
I wouldn't do that to you,
I
but
need you
since
to
you
do
keep
that.
doing it, I'm like, Frank, let's
Hook
just
me
nip
up,
it.
sis. Don't let me.
Zaven. Okay.
Well, Zaven will be in the back. Hook me up. Don't leave me out there, man. I don't want to keep somebody's typing like this dude is wrong. I don't even know my name. No, hook me up. But I think our defense will. I think our defense will show you something totally different. I agree with you 100%. I think Buda Baker would be he would be down more for a little more pressure, and you have to bring pressure to him because you have to create a little bit of diversity and change the landscape of the quarterback's lenses. So that to me, I think, and you might see some of our defensive linemen drop back, and that'll change the landscape. So I think our defensive line will be different this week. I mean, they showed up against Tennessee, of course. I mean, Chandler Jones. You asked the question, was it a fluke? 5 sacks. I can't say yes or no, but I will say no to that, and I'm just going back because the tackle tweeted that I got my butt kicked.
Right.
And so he really put his hands on him that week. But I think our defense has the power and the ability to stop the run. The question is, can you stop the pass when the run is when you stop the run? So you have to make a decision with the Rams on how to play the best defense you can.
Tampa Bay and Todd Bowles did not blitz Matthew Stafford and got picked apart. Yeah. And Todd Bowles is one of the best, if not the best, defensive coordinator in the NFL. McVay's scheming people open. Cooper Kupp is unguardable right now.
Right now, he looks really good.
If they try to rush 4, that's not going to go well. And as well as Chandler Jones can play, you know, Andrew Whitworth has had his way with him. He's 39 years old. I don't know what the hell is going on there. I would blitz everybody. I would try to knock him on his ass. I'd blitz Simmons and Budda Baker and bring 6 guys, and it's just like, sorry, Byron, do your best, right? And if you get burned, I can live with that. What I can't live with is, to Saul's point, watching a team just pick you apart 10, 20, 30 yards at a time, and guys are open anyway. So at least try to generate pressure if you can with extra help to force a turnover, to stall a drive, to force 3rd and longs. I would much rather see that. And if you get burnt, I can live with that. They did that last year, especially in the 4th quarter and overtime against Seattle at home, when they beat Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll and they started bringing people. And Budda had a blitz sack in overtime. Dennis Gardeck did. That was really effective. I don't think they can win with 4 right now. They're not good enough at defensive tackle. You know, Chandler's too inconsistent right now. Isaiah Simmons was a force rushing from the edge at Clemson. Try to bring him and Budda as much as you can. Jordan Hicks and Xavier Collins will be fine. Find a way to get all 3 of those guys on the field at once. I think that's their best bet for generated pressure this week that they otherwise just wouldn't have.
Facundo, right? Facundo, yeah, in the chat says he loves this show.
Hey,
Thank
Facundo,
you so
thank
much.
you.
Appreciate you, Facundo.
Thank you,
Also,
thank you.
Kellen with a K. My son's watching the show, so that's kind of cool.
What's up, man?
Kellen with the K.
Oh, hi.
Let's go.
Awesome. Do we have one more? Or
We have one more question from Lewis, and we've covered it to some extent, but I'll just do a quick hit here. I think the Rams will continue to follow Hop, given Kyler's recent tendency to follow his reads and take the play away from Hopkins. What do you think?
I zoned out. I didn't hear what you said.
Let me try that again. Do you think Ramsey? And I read this to you before the show. Do you think Ramsey?
I was thinking about shotgunning beers. I just came up with this thing in my head because I thought it would be funny if all of us, like, this is the only way I'm doing it. Since we didn't reach our goal,
let's just
if
skip
we
it. Let's
all if we all shotgunned a beer at the end, your son would get to see it. I was laughing in my head about it, and that's why I just did not listen to anything you said.
The question just is,
yes, he will.
Ramsey's going to
Ramsey's going to shadow Hopkins the entire
that,
game.
yeah.
Try to take him out, and then the other 3 receivers are going to try.
Oh yeah, you got to get you got to put your best guy on the opponent's best guy. So
I don't believe so because I don't think so because I think they're moving him. Last year he was the pinnacle of our offense. He was the only option on our offense, and that right now he's not the only option on our offense. We have guys that can actually make plays. So your best option for you is to allow him to still be free flowing in the defense. Maybe every now and then, if D-Hop goes on the inside, you put him on the inside because that's where he's been able to make some plays and catches. But outside of that, you let him move around to change the mindset of the quarterback on where he's coming from. He's blitzed from the slot position, and he's been more effective, and from the slot position or from a nickel or dime position than he's been just being on an outside cornerback this year with the Rams. So that tells you they think they have some decent cornerbacks on the outside that they can move Ramsey from one spot. If D-Hop sits in the slot, he probably will go inside with him, but more likely he's more effective being on the opposite end of where Aaron Donald is in regards to the defense, because now you got to pay attention to both sides. If one pressure's coming that way, he might come from the left side. If Aaron moves to the right, then he moves to the left. And they've been doing that pretty effective, this year. So I don't see him on D-Hops this year because D-Hop's not the only piece. We got studs out there, and they got to pay attention to that. And so if Christian's the guy and Christian get hot, I would see him get on Christian. And then they'll figure out, then they'll double team D-Hop with somebody else, and then they'll go from there. Because if we don't move him, then we're gonna have a problem. And we have to move him. We have to figure out how to get him in motion. And if we get D-Hops in motion, that would change the narrative and the landscape for many. But Ramsey, like I said, man, he's good. But where they got him playing this year, he'll probably move around. I don't see him sticking and staying on D-Hops. I don't.
Okay. All right. Well, before we move on, I want to remind you guys, if you sign up for the DraftKings Sportsbook app using the code PHNX, bet just $1 on any game, any football game, you're going to get $150 in free bets instantly. We also have a promo going on for all of our members. Buy any college tee. So we've got U of A themed, ASU themed. Buy any college tee, get any other shirt half off at phnxlocker.com. We've got some cool Cardinals shirts, but we've got t-shirts that are themed pretty much after every team we have here locally. So we've got some great stuff going on there. All right, this is what I've been waiting for. I was wondering how we were going to do this last segment since we did not reach the goal. We did not get 1,500, but we can either end it here, guys, or if everybody will shotgun with me, I'll do it.
I mean, I'll chug a beer.
I'm chugging it.
Shotgun.
Well, you got to pop it and then tear it and then it's going to
make a mess
the carpet, the flooring.
Like,
people work here, Chierstin.
Yeah, I mean,
this
isn't a frat house.
Yeah. Hello. Hello. I'm a fan.
Yeah, let's do it. Everybody's going to get one. Thank you.
You know how crazy that is? We're like, man, this man is...
Oh, they're really cold.
They're
still.
really cold,
Dang it,
too.
I was hoping they'd warm up by now.
What?
Warm beer and Applebee's.
No. Warm up, not
It's a perfect Friday night right
warm.
there, baby.
No, for chugging, you want like closer to room temp.
Okay.
That's true. That is true.
Well,
And before we go, I just want to say thank you so much for everybody who has followed our page. What is that? Are you getting a...
trying to make sure. Get cologne right.
What in the heck
You
is
just got to
that?
get your cologne right. You know, it's like a little dab of you. Never hurts you.
All right, cheers.
Oh, my
What you
goodness.
got, man?
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who did follow,
Yes,
everybody
thank
who's
you
viewing.
all.
yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you
we
very
did have
much.
an awesome turnout for that, even if we didn't reach our
Oh, they got a race. Somebody said my money is on Johnny.
Jesus.
Oh, is this a
You're gonna
race?
lose a lot
Is
of
that
money,
a
man.
Race?
Oh, look at you already starting
Oh,
over there, Teeter.
okay. Hold up. What's it?
Not on the
Take a little baby sips over there and whatnot. Come on now. This ain't even fair.
What?
I'm gonna come in dead last. Like
I won't win.
Blue 18.
I'll lose.
said
Blue 18.
No.
Said I.
I can't do it.
Can't do it. Wait for it.
Oh, man.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Oh, Starbucks and Coors Light. Woo!
There you go, buddy.
Oh my goodness.
A wet moment.
Cool. Thank you, everybody.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code
Follow
PHNX.
us on social media, PHNX_sports.
Go
Facebook,
PHNX.com.
Twitter, Instagram.
Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow.